Well, this is why you have the focus on gun control right now. The escalating feud between Saudi Arabia and Iran. It has the potential to reignite a regional Sunni Shiite sectarian conflict. This weekend, Saudi Arabia rallied its Sunni allies and severed diplomatic ties with Iran. Iran's president responded today by saying, quote, Saudi Arabia cannot cover up its crime of executing a Shiite cleric by cutting ties. Will the world pull the two back from the brink of war? What about President Constitution leading from behind? Is he going to do anything? Oh, no, it's right. We're going after law-abiding gun owners. Joining me now, senior counselor for the Foundation for Defense of Democracies, John Hanna. John, Happy New Year to you. Hope you had a great holiday. So this is, I mean, ultimately, this is why we're seeing, of course, I talked about this earlier, this focus on gun control here, because this is this should be, in fact, the headline. This should be the story above the fold, because what we're witnessing right now between Iran and Saudi Arabia, we're seeing a total destabilization of the Middle East.
Yeah, no, I think that's right. This is an extremely combustible, dangerous situation, Dana. And what it is on the part of Saudi Arabia and the rest of our traditional Sunni partners in the Gulf, it's a revolt against an American foreign policy that they have lost all trust and confidence in. They do not believe America is going to do anything to stop Iranian hegemony throughout the Middle East, and therefore they are taking matters into their own hands. They are engaging in a form of self-help here that is maybe in their short-term interest, but could also be in long-term against American interests. And yet they're going to go forward, march forward and do this. And where this leads ultimately, I fear, is to a Saudi nuclear weapon.
Yeah. Well, and of course, you know, we've seen which is a scary thought, the Sunni Shiite. This has been a battle that they have had, which I understand it predates this administration, but this administration had a chance to really kind of avert this. I mean, back in, was it 2010, 2011, they didn't take that chance, and the policies from this administration have greater contributed to this. I mean, for the lack of a better way to put it, Saudi Arabia is supposed to be our ally, yet we're siding with Iran, who wants to kill us and kill everybody for reasons unbeknownst to me, John.
Well, it comes down to one word, I think, essentially legacy. This president has staked everything, as he has domestically on Obamacare and maybe now on gun control. He's now staking his foreign policy legacy on this nuclear deal with Iran, and there can be nothing that gets in the way of that, whether Iran is test firing ballistic missiles that are capable of mounting nuclear warheads that can hit Saudi Arabia and Israel, or they're conducting live fire exercises within a few hundred yards of American ships in the Straits of Hormuz. America will do nothing. Our Gulf allies, all of our partners see this. They are moving off in their own direction. The order that we've established in the Middle East that has served our interests pretty well for most of 70 years is coming undone. And what follows is not some new order, it's chaos.
And I've seen a number of Middle Eastern countries square off in this pick-and-choose sides battle between Iran and Saudi Arabia with a number of countries. Bahrain announced, what was it today, that they're suspending flights to Iran. It seems as there are not as many, if any, people on Iran's side as there is Saudi Arabia, John.
Yeah, no, there's no question that this is splitting along sectarian lines, and certainly in the Middle East. And in the Middle East, it's just a fact that the overwhelming majority of people in that region happen to be Sunnis, and the Shiites are a small minority. So that's what's happening here. They're squaring off. Where the Russians end up in this, anybody knows. We had press reporting today that said the Europeans, in their heart of hearts, think the Saudis are to blame here and are leaning toward the Iranians. We know our own administration is backgrounding the press like crazy, saying the Saudis are the real culprits here. We're siding with the Iranians. This is only going to encourage, if they weren't encouraged enough already, our worst adversaries and enemies in the region, like the Iranians, like the Russians, to continue to press to get everything they can in this last year of Obama. They know they can press and press. There will be no resistance from this administration.
So how is this going to unfold? What is the best and, dare I ask, worst case scenario here?
Best case scenario is that we don't see further escalation, that this does not move to a hot conflict directly between the Saudis and the Iranians, because in the worst case, there is an awful lot of damage that Iran can do to Saudi Arabia. If we think the Middle East is bad now, if Saudi Arabia begins to unravel, and there is a real chance of instability there, they are bogged down in a foreign war in Yemen, they are facing very low oil prices, they are cutting subsidies for the first time in their history to a population that has grown very fat and lazy on the back of massive subsidies from the state. You begin to take all that away and you take away American support for Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia collapses, the #1 exporter in the global oil market, even with U.S. fracking. We are looking at a world that is dramatically transformed and in ways that are going to harm American interests. And if we think Sunni jihadism is bad now, just wait until all those jihadists, those Wahhabis inside of Saudi Arabia are let loose. It's going to be very, very ugly and dangerous, and we've got to do everything we can to stand by the Saudis now and make sure that we're the ones that are doing everything in our power to deter and combat and keep the Iranians in some kind of box.
Wow, that is positively terrifying. John Hanna, I don't know how else to put it. John Hanna, Senior Counselor, Foundation for Defense of Democracies. John, God bless you. It's always good to see you. Thank you.
You too, Dana. Thanks so much.